So regenesis is the process of midwifing and rebirthing the human condition on all levels. If we take a moment to consider the concept that it invokes an image of letting go of all that doesn't work personally, socially, and globally, and allowing that to be compost for an innovative approach to build, design, and architect the future that we truly want. We must focus on every aspect of the life experience, from spirituality to art and culture, the environment and stewardship of it, health and wellness of spirit, mind, and body, the idea of alternative economic and governance models, green and renewable energy, appropriate science and technology, independent media and communications, and peace and justice. I'd like to welcome everyone to our weekly Earthstock Zoom meeting. Right now, this is our European group of emerging solutionaries, luminaries, visionaries, and avatars that are helping to architect and design the new paradigm and new world. So, quick update. Up till now, of course, Earthstock Eco-Spiritual Summit is August 19th to 25th. At this point, we've had about 100 presenter and staff registration forms come in. We are on the verge of closing registration, although what it seems is emerging out of collective field that there are other luminaries that we want to invite in to the event. So part of the meeting today is I'm going to if you already haven't gotten them, because Tina Marie is very effective about whenever people email, getting them their registration connection, getting everybody their MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding. So we're very much handling very efficiently the organizational and logistic communications for the event. But registration will be closing soon. And we're going to be actually next week posting the website, which is already up at earthstocksummit.com. And we're going to be going public and starting to show people the basic schedule. So with that, I'd like to just go around and have everybody just for a quick moment introduce yourself and what you do, starting with Catherine Schmack.
Yes, hello. My name is Katrin Schmack from Germany. I'm at the moment a little bit between the worlds because I'm starting to move more and more to Costa Rica. I'm a sustainable interior architect and Feng Shui master since more than almost about 25 years now. And I'm working as co-creator with the energies and the forces of magnetism and gravitation, which are the main forces of the movement in nature, of manifesting energies here on Earth, in the universe. And I'm working on harmonizing the surrounding for humans to make the world a better place, a more peaceful place. And I also work with ley lines, which is an amazing tool as we are all working with directions in room and space as architects. Feng Shui is also always about architecture, about direction. And I'm bringing this ancient 6,000-year-old Taoistic wisdom into the modern Western architecture. And what's also, I follow the path of the dragon as, yes, this is the energy that I'm working with.
Amazing. I have to say, I think there's a theme emerging here on the call today. I'd like to introduce our next presenter. And I met her recently through the Nodes of Light group, which is working with Luciana Calibri in Colombia, who's also working with the Kogi. And, you know, there's many different overlays and dimensions and confluences of things that are coming together. I will say Earthstock is not just an event. It's a doorway of activation, but an opportunity to weave together our different projects. And we have a very clear mind map emerging of various locations around the world that are have been online through traditional knowledge, traditional communities, indigenous people, ceremonial centers. But we also have these new places that are kind of being reactivated. So with that, I want to introduce, if you could tell us where you're calling from, I wanted to introduce Lana.
Thank you. My name is Lana. I am living in Scotland on the West Coast. I'm also in a transition at the moment because I've just left a small community I've been living in for 9 years, where I was planting a biodynamic garden and permaculture garden, forest garden, working with the natural cycles and weaving in the teachings of the Celtic wheel and sharing that with others as well who came to learn about living close to the earth. I'm a musician. I work with sacred sound and sound healing and singing the land, and also with the sacred sites of these lands. And as Michael said, I am friends with Luciana, and we met through having both worked with one of the Kogi mamas, and I've been learning from the Kogi in different ways over the last 12 years, and from different indigenous wisdom traditions, including the Celtic traditions of these lands. And so my work is really about and coming more about weaving these threads of ancient wisdom in our lands and reviving our ancient ways and traditions, tending our sacred sites, gathering on the land in ways of ceremony and prayer, and living in harmony with the earth. And I am working towards creating a place somewhere on the west coast of these lands which can be a home for this work and these ways. So wonderful to meet you. Thank you.
Fantastic. One of the interesting things is, again, I don't want to talk too much right now and just kind of open it up here in a moment. that there are these emerging places around the planet, some that have been, again, traditionally known and identified through many cultures. I will say Earthstock Eco Spiritual Summit is incorporating and bringing in many different aspects like the eagle and the condor and the eighth fire prophecy. We're also looking at things like mending the sacred hoop, the white buffalo, which was born 30 years ago in 94, where I first met Chief Phil Lane, and another one was just recently born, symbolizing the reemergence and the importance of the divine feminine. But there's these actual locations like in Colombia, Luciana working with the Kogi. I know Catherine is in Costa Rica, which is a place that I feel extremely connected to, and that's how we met. Because when I saw she was going down there, we knew that there's a big movement of New Earth architects going down there. Also, Adriana Alvarez, who is now back from her work in Palenque and her center La Ventana in Palenque, where I am in Colorado, which for thousands of years has been known as the Bloodless Valley, a place of sacred pilgrimage and vision questing for indigenous. And, and very much Jerry Anderson with 10,000 acres in Puerto Rico, and what Lana's talking about, and really all of us being connected to these um, places around the world that are all starting to weave together and connect through what I call the internet, or the mycelial network of the planet. And a little bit into the call, I want to talk more about that. It seems to be the theme today. But with that, I want to welcome, if you could tell us where you're calling from, I want to welcome Danny and Helene.
Thank you, Michael, for having us here. And it's really nice to see you all. Our journey is very similar. I was gifted a long time ago with being able to hear the stones sing. That means they share their story. And when we came together, we got a huge deepening in that. And this is what we teach people, how to listen, actually. And it's the listening part is mainly by bringing values, your personal values. And with that, we lay stone circles also for the area. That means an area, when it's got an active stone circle, it starts talking. And there is one here we are placed in the Netherlands. And in a little village called Dalsen, there is one with the complete circle, the 52 plus 12 plus 1. And it's activated and it's working. And more people are going there. And more ceremonies are done there. And people are starting to open up. And this is what we do all over the world. We're guided to help places to lay one stone, several stones, to start opening the remembrance of the talent of that area. As we are personalities, the area is a personality itself, has a consciousness itself. And the incredible beauty of humanity, we can listen to it. And we can have a dialogue instead of a double monologue, or either the earth telling us something and we the earth something, which is we do mostly not too kind, but we can have a dialogue at the same time. Makes a huge difference. That's when the earth start moving. That's when everything gets back into movement. And I'm also a craniosacral therapist. And by learning and just listening to a body, it opens up. And that's the same with the earth. As we sit down and we listen to the earth, things start falling in its place. That's my part.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We, when we came together only 6 years ago, a lot of things started opening up. And one of the things that happened when we came together after 3 months, we were gifted a new medicine wheel. And the moment we were gifted this, it was really like a question mark. What is this? But we decided to really follow the thread in there and see what it would bring us. And people started to ask for teachings, and at the moment we started doing it, we got the information. So it became way more clear how the medicine wheel is working. And this is also with the stone circles. It's very much connected to the stone circles.
And in the Netherlands, we have this Celtic tradition, so we are very much also connected to the Celts. And I think the stone circle, after your vision came in 2009, the 52 plus 12 plus 1 is always guiding us in a direction. And with the wheel, we got more information how our own consciousness is growing, but not only our personal consciousness, but also of the relations and the group and the whole universe. So seeing that is bringing that to the stone circles and bringing that especially to the community stone circles, because it is about community right now. So we need our communities to wake up, and we need the values of the community. And I have a background as a family therapist, so I've been working with a lot of children, a lot of families, and I really love to see that coming back. And when we bring back the values with the stone circles, it's so much connected to the earth, and it's so much like a starting point where we can work from and work with, and we will be guided by all life then. So that's what we really guided to do and really guided to bring. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Hi, thank you so much. It's beautiful to be here with amazing, inspiring people. Oh, my heart is singing. Yes, I'm from West Sussex in the UK, and my background is really from 8 years old. I was singing to the dying. My grandmother, a very old, wise woman, sort of had set me on that path of working with the dying. And why I'm so excited on lots of levels is I had many different teachers on the shamanic path from growing up and healing in different ways from a young child. And I, one of the things that I understood was about the singing rocks. And I am now patron of many hospices, and my work is the sort of foremost speaker in the UK on death and dying and dignity and end of life care. So I'm a death doula and a funeral celebrant, a medicine woman, a filmmaker on compassionate care and end of life care. But also as a child, I've always woven the songs of the dragons, the songs of the stones, listening and receiving and then replaying. And one of the images that I had always as a child was the singing with the rocks and placing them in the hospices, so that every hospice had a place of living and dying portals to gently release themselves from the body, to sing themselves to the next dimension, gently, with purpose, with consciousness. And because I am blessed to be patron of hospices in the UK, I've written many books on end-of-life care, and my films are used by millions around the world on how to transform care, not only elder care and the resurrection of what our elders mean and where our elders are perhaps also lacking a sense of purpose, direction, connection. We need to reawaken our elders to that. But I also lead ceremonies by the sea for 300 people, big ceremonies using the rocks to create mandalas, working on the concept of what we give to the waters with the words of peace, what we sing peace, and allowing to receive peace. So again, the working with the waters within us, the sacred waters. And so when I first heard of Michael, I was excited because the visions that I'd had as a child was millions of people around the world drumming at the sea, at the water's edge. And in my small way, with hundreds of people, different from millions, but that's happening. That's coming to fruition. And also the concept of allowing us to sing with the waters, to sing the purity and the beauty back. So in the UK, we have the most appalling lack of water guardianship towards the government, that lack of understanding of the sacredness of all elements. And I've worked in the shamanic way since, as I said, as a child. And I work with those that go through deep trauma, but I also work with the earth and where the earth has gone through deep trauma to help to reignite and recalibrate perhaps what needs to be recalibrated, perhaps returning the innocence of hope, perhaps returning the regeneration of the music of all the elements in a combination of sounds that allow for a symphony of healing to be restored. So I'm also a sound healer, and a celebrant as well. So I've done many ceremonies within Stonehenge and marry people in the way of as long as love will last, and marry them with the earth and the elements of what it's like to be part of the earth and part of the heavens. So my passion with all of this is, and the excitement, sorry, I'm going on. Many people say you do too many things, and I'm like, well, I can't help it. I can't bear to be put in a box, and I can't bear to not help where I can see. So my songs and music for the dying are used also around the world to help those that are caring. And I think, Michael, I put in a submission yesterday as one of the topics I could talk about around around how we look at care of ourselves and elders and end of life care. But the passion around reigniting the sacred sites is something I've done always with groups of people. And now what I'm loving is to see tribes and common, beautiful, heart-opened people to reconnect and join the dots up and put more singing circles in the stones and in the bones. Back into singing ourselves back into this world, weaving the truth that we need. So yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Fantastic. So if we could, I'm just feeling maybe we can just all just take a moment of silence. And we're all so profoundly connected spiritually, and even though we're on the Zoom call, which again, like Catherine Schmock said, and you said earlier, that it feels like we're in the same room together, but we'll just kind of take a moment to see what wants to be expressed in the field. So just to proceed from that space of the sacred silence, I want to mention most of my relatives are from Italy, and this European group is very important component to the work overall in the world, but also to Earthstock here in North America. And with the Eagle and Condor Eighth Fire Gathering, there's definitely a lot of very intense indigenous energies, especially when we get into like Mexico, Central, South America. We do our group every week. So part of what has been emerging for Earthstock is the idea of mending the sacred hoop, really, of all races and all nations, of the masculine and the feminine, of bringing the grandmothers and the elders and the youth also to the forefront. I also want to mention, I know there's a few people part of our group that are here. I know Alenka is at an event presenting her art, and she's in Slovenia. Also Susan Kasak, who's in Switzerland. Cara Stonehouse, who is in France, but right now she's in Ibiza at the Holland Movement Summit. Anne-Marie Voorhaven, who's also in with the Hague Institute in the Netherlands, and Olga, and a few others. So part of this conversation today is, there's something bigger emerging, and I came to recognize this when I took on at least the responsibility to facilitate an event as a portal of activation, that there's hoops within hoops, there's many different communities and wheels, and right now with Earthstock, there's a couple things that are in the field that are emerging. I actually put it in the chat, and you can take a quick look at it. But right now, it seems to me, looking at, and I'm very much about biomimicry. I don't want to ever work from my head, even though it's a great way to discern information. But right now there's a different overlays of these different things. And this is kind of how I also I'm working with Luciana, who's working directly with the Kogi Council, and how I met Alana is right now it seems to me that there's different overlays of what's happening, and I just want to share this. And this is just my humble perspective, but with the event right now, you know, the Kogis and many of the indigenous right now are speaking very specifically about these various places that are the organs of the planet, like very like places like the Amazon potentially being like the lungs of the planet. Um, but there's different places that have very specific functions in the overall health of the earth. And then if we look towards nature, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with it, we have what's called mother trees. And mother trees are these hubs within ecosystems or bioregions or watersheds, whatever you'd like to call it, who kind of move nutrients, energy, and they actually are kind of a switchboard and a communicator um, for all the various plants and animals in the ecosystem. You know, and when we talk about that, I start thinking of movies like, you know, Avatar with the Tree of Life and things like Fern Gully. How again, a lot of these things are centered around the idea of, you know, these trees that are these communicators, not just between nature and animals, but also between all of us, of course. And also trees are in many traditions that connect the underworld, right, the roots, the mycelial network, with the human world, right, those of us who walk on the surface. But the branches also reach into, you know, the universe and into the galaxy and connect us with many different dimensions. So the tree of life, and at some point I'm going to share the picture I took in Palenque of the main ceremony at the ruins, because it was pretty, it was startling, but it was also fascinating. But then, you know, we have these different power spots all around the planet, which of course are different, like vortexes that have their different attributes and their different medicines that they offer us. Um, and that these power spots really are connected globally through, again, like what I would call the mycelial web. You know, these are like the veins and the arteries and the nerves of Gaia, Pachamama, of the earth. And then we have those who are kind of weavers and pollinators. So right now, as we're Earthstock is getting to the point of really self-organizing and gathering momentum. We're just looking at these different ecosystems because, and I don't want to get way into it. After the event, it seemed it's really apparent that we're going to have a very potent network of solutionaries, visionaries, architects of the new dawn that are going through this portal of activation together, that will continue to weave together. So I will just I wanted to leave it at that, because there is the potential right now of very large entities that are interested in funding on different continents or different locations, these ARC academies, which are like these centers of learning. And for many of you, actually, we've just connected with the Dom and Her community in Italy, which is kind of, if you don't know about it, they call it like the Temple of Man or the Temple of Humanity. It's an incredible project. And of course, there's places like Findhorn, places like Oroville, which is still growing in India. So we're just kind of looking about not just weaving together and connecting and building synergy, but how do we start to collaborate to elevate the whole human condition. So I just wanted to mention that because all of you are doing, it's kind of fascinating today. Everyone here on the call is doing this kind of dragon line, ley line, energetic work. And of course, we want to make sure that all of you are given a place in Earthstock to be showcased about your work and talk about what you're doing, which of course is very essential. I think many of you know each day has a theme. I won't go way into that, but I want to open it up in a minute. But, you know, Monday, we're focused really on women and youth. And actually, yesterday, I just connected with the Yunga World Council, which has a youth council that is basically has members from every country in the world. So they're actually potentially coming in as part of the Earthstock ecosystem as a global youth council. Very exciting, doing amazing projects around sustainability. And then, you know, we've been in communication with Patricia White, and grandmother Gail Thomas and others that we are allowing to emerge what's being called the Grandmothers Council. A lot of time the voices of women have, been suppressed or oppressed by the patriarchy, and part of the time we're in, especially with the birth of white buffalo as a messenger to indigenous people, that now is the time where the divine feminine has to be the energy that comes forward, the intuitional, the matrilineal, so that we can hear and be more compassionate and maternal to each other, but also our relationship with the planet. So it's fascinating to see all these elements developing even beyond the event. So Tuesday is Ancient Prophecies and Future Visions, and we're going to be talking about all the different prophecies: Eagle Condor, Eighth Fire, Wallace Black Elk, the mending of the sacred hoop, the white buffalo. We're going to be talking also in Buddhism. They have Maitreya Buddha. In Hinduism, they have Kalki. We're going to be talking about, all the different things, but even more importantly, and this is where I'm very focused, we all know about prophecies. There seems to be a prophecy infatuation, even like biblical prophecy and all of these different things. And there's a lot of people saying, okay, the end of the world is here, and we're waiting for the return of, this luminous being. Anyways, we all have different beliefs. I believe it's a collective consciousness. But the point being is the prophecies are road signs pointing to something. And it's something that we're all downloading and connecting and co-creating. So again, Tuesday is a very dynamic day. Wednesday is about peace and justice, economics, and alternative governances. So that's kind of a interesting nuts and bolts kind of day. We have a lot of people coming forth with different kind of global currencies and volunteer currencies, like really fascinating. Thursday is about health and wellness of the spirit mind. Thursday is about ecology, everything food and water and agriculture and green energy. Friday is about health and wellness, spirit, mind, and body. Saturday is unity through the arts, how visual and performing arts bring us together. So this is a really important day of presentations. So I put this out because I heard some of you are musicians, and we want to make sure that we have an opportunity of not just talking, right, but actually having people present. So, and then Sunday is our globally synchronized day. And this is a little bit, and again, I don't mean to take up too much air in the room. I just wanted to kind of template this out. I heard Amanda talking about the drumming and stuff like this. So Sunday we'll start with global reconciliation ceremony with Kahuna elders from Hawaii, because we need to heal the past so we can truly go forward. And I think, us and our ancestors have probably done things that have been less than noble over the eons, especially here in North America and Americas, where there's been so much, just so much genocide for the indigenous people. And then that will culminate in a sacred hoop ceremony and drums around the world. So right now, and I will put the link on the chat, if you know anyone who on that Sunday wants to join in as part of the global drumming, which will be like a four-hour window. And we try to do at a time that makes it doable for everybody, regardless of the time zone. All they have to do, very simple. We have a really easy system. You just go to drumsaroundtheworld.com. You go there, and when you register, you actually will, within 24 to 48 hours, you get a little pin on the map that says who you are and what you're doing. So I just wanted to kind of share the overall part of the event, because as we all register, it's like feeling into where we fit and what part of the work that we're doing. So whether it's and I just wanted to say this, whether, Denny and Helene have this network of stone circles, we can invite that in as a part of it. I want to emphasize that we're weaving and co-creating. This is not just, one person or one organization. Like, we're all bringing our visions together in a whole eloquent and divine way. So with that, I'll stop yammering. I will put the registration link into the chat just to make sure everyone is registered right now. And as soon as you register, you get your MOU sent, your memorandum of understanding. And from there is where we kind of finalize the details. And it's exciting because we're launching the website with an actual schedule beginning this week, and we're still 3 months from the event. So we're feeling really relaxed. Things are being very fluid and working very gracefully. So with that, I'd like to just, if anyone had any questions, and then we can kind of just open up the lens a little more for whatever discussion or whatever wants to be expressed in the field of the time we have. But if you haven't registered, again, I'll put the link in the chat, and you will get an agreement, because there's sacred reciprocity that has to happen, and energy equity. Like, I can do this, but I need that. I will say, with over 100 applications for presenters, of course, everybody's like, fly me there, feed me, take care of me. And it's like, I wish I had, $1 million to do that. We are getting financial support. That's why, as we build the unified kind of quantum field, as things get clearer, the energetic support is arising. But I do want to say, a few of the musicians, like in Bulgaria, and a few other presenters actually had just put out to their community, like, hey, I've been invited to present at this global summit. And actually, several people just had people say, well, here, I'd like to support you in attending the actual event. So I'm saying this because in one of our deep discussions with the Wisdom Keepers Council and some of the others, in order to be really regenerative and a sustainable event, we can't always be sustainable by thinking someone else is going to do all of it for us. So I'm putting that out just in a very modest way. If you have potential sponsors or people you're working with, or a community that you can ask for support. I know Daniela Castella just asked for support to go to Palestine to have communications with olive trees as part of her work, and she got the support. So I just want to say that, because besides holding the unified field of all this together and dealing with all the logistics and communications, and the funding that's already gone out, and we're working on more funding, time is getting closer. We're 3 months away. So we're appealing for people that, if you can possibly find other modes of support, because it's very heartbreaking to have so much potential, and then, I'm expected to fund everything. So I just wanted to put that out. And I'm going to open up the circle a little more. I will put in the chat 2 letters that are very useful. One is an invitation to participate, if you know people that should be invited. And the other one is invitation to support, that you can use just asking for support. And this is what we're asking everybody, kind of as weavers and pollinators, to send it out, because there's a lot in the field just waiting to be actualized. And with that, I'll just put the talking stick back into the center.
Yeah, I take the stick. Thank you, Michael. Yes, I think also it's a great possibility to ask for support. I'm gonna do that. I feel like maybe there's a possibility, because I want to mention another point, and this is that everybody I met here in your groups in the preparation of this wonderful summit, everybody is not only on the way to do great things for the planet, for the new Earth and the new world movement, but also we are on our way. I can personally speak, and I think I speak for many of us, on our way, which is also a personal journey, a very deep personal journey that started for each and every one of us a long, long time ago. And there are everybody's story we hear here is a story of a sacred calling. And in my personal case, it's also the connection between yin and yang. And I know we all have deep family and traditional and ancestral wounds to heal. And we are all doing a lot of really hard work to do this since many, many decades. And And I feel this is amazing to get people together that are on the individual, but also on a collective journey. And this is why I feel it's really very, very valuable to support this wonderful event.
You know, we all have the places in the world we feel connected to, and that's how we met. I have this infatuation with Costa Rica, but also here in Southern Colorado, Crestone, we have 20 spiritual centers, the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. I put into the chat the book by Peter Champoux called Gaia Matrix. I wanted to remind people about that. Champaux, Peter Champoux. He also wrote a book called The Arc of Antero, which is about the San Luis Valley where Crestone is. And the reason I bring this up is spiritual leaders and indigenous people have come here from all over the world to build these spiritual centers and to do vision quest and healing work. I will say, being here physically in the healing power of this place, it has the second largest water aquifer in North America. It's the second highest desert plateau in the world after like the Himalayas. So it has a very unique quality. And of course, I wish I could just say, everybody come, here's your plane tickets. But there is something really special about the area and what's going to happen during that week. And even right now, Mayan elders are going to be here next week doing earth ceremonies. So it's just a place that attracts a certain energy, like we all know that we work with. So I want to encourage people to, again, like you said, just to think outside the box of how we can self-generate with our magical abilities to be able to be at the event. And I will say we have plenty of resource here for accommodations and also for food, but the big thing is obviously getting people here from different parts of the world. So thank you for mentioning that, Catherine. And I did hear from your colleague too. He reached out to me and had registered.
You know, I will gonna have a lecture about spirit planning, about the combination of this old ancient wisdom and the modern architecture and how everything is weaving together. But I think also very important would be the workshops, because at that second we will talk about a personal layout of a house or an apartment that the person is living in. In that second, it's getting personal. So it's getting from the understanding of the mind, which is approximately 10%, to 100% of feeling it really, how it really goes with this interaction, with this communication, with this, you know, room and space communication. And this is so amazing. And that is why it's so important to be there in person, because it's a totally different level than just having a lecture. To feel it, to just be involved 100%.
You're absolutely right. I will say the event doesn't even start here until 1 p.m. Every morning, we're going to be going out looking at some of the designed homes in the area, also places like the ashram, the temple, the largest freestanding wooden dome at the Zen Center. So part of why I'm here is because this area embraces architectural innovation and green building. People can go out and be part of building of an earth ship. They can see tiny earth construction. So this is going to be a very hands-on event, not just sitting all day, again, hearing people speak, which of course is part of the education. But yeah, absolutely hands-on, spending time in nature. Yeah, so I feel a little bit biased. I don't want to start sounding like I'm overhyping this, but I'm just really excited. So I wanted just to make sure in the 15 minutes or so we have left, if anyone else has anything they want to add.
So what we noticed is we're doing a lot of healing, and that really is beautiful. And we've done ceremonies for decades and everything. But even as a person, if we don't get the lesson that's connected with the healing, it's not working. we have to stay in the healing quadrant almost. And I'm asking, what is the group, what is the timing that we start listening to what is truly the lesson of all the tribes? Because we have a global lesson we have to take together. And it's about, if we do not take that lesson, we're going to keep on doing the same things over and over again as we are doing as persons. So this is for us a very sacred place also to listen deeply, and it might hurt by feeling what is really the answer or what is really going on. But I really would love to know what is in this context happening there.
Well, again, very interesting. I will say I'm privileged to have certain communications with certain people. I just actually, our brother Adam Yellowbird is on his way here to Crestone to do some ceremonial work with the land and some healing work. He was part of the original meetings of the Eagle and Condor and the Eighth Fire. And I don't want to sound gossipy, because the reality is that, you know, I don't look at people as people. We're all the dance of energy of consciousness evolving, right, in a quantum way. But one of the things that came up is that at the original gathering, a lot of people since then have decided to start their own councils because, you know, this person or that person. So, you know, as opposed to unifying and coming together, what's happening is we're having more divisiveness, and people are fractaling out. Like, I don't like that person. They have a purple shirt, or that person said this and offended me. But as you said, Denny, it's like this is part of the healing and let's say, the bringing to light of the wounds that need to be dealt with. And it's much easier if we sweep them under a rug or we put a skeleton in the closet than doing the work. So that's why on Sunday, for the globally synchronized day, and this is just a modest offering, we wanted to start with Ho'oponopono so we can do global reconciliation, saying, please forgive me and my ancestors for any injury or harm that I've done to any of you and your ancestors. So part of it is through the week, through the immersion in the natural world here, through the healing support of the rivers, and I mean, it's just incredible. We have several hot springs that we can come together in an authentic space to truly open up, to start authenticating and really doing the work. So part of what I came to realize when I went to the Eagle Condor gathering in support of my brother Chief Phil Lane and the Council of 13 and that prophecy was, there's so much trauma, and understandably so, because of the genocide that's been committed towards these indigenous communities. And again, not just from, and this is why this group is so important to me, especially from my ancestry, that's been done by the Europeans, you know, the Portuguese in South America, the Spanish, right, the conquistadors, the French in the north, and the English and others coming with more a different mindset than what was part of the indigenous cultures here. And of course, having Lana on the call and the work that all of you are doing, working with the Druidic, working with the Celtic, working with the ley lines, integrating the various global indigenous spirituality into our work, trying to come to a place, you know, they call it cultural creatives, but trying to find a unified way to hold this spiritual energy in a new way and not go into the old way. But part of it is there is so much trauma there that it's hard for people to move forward. So there's a couple of things. One is the infatuation of prophecy. Like, we know prophecies are road signs, but we have to look at what they're pointing to. Just don't keep saying the prophecy, the road sign. Well, the road sign is saying, stop the car. There's a cliff ahead. Like, we have to respond to the road signs of these prophecies. But I will say we're all working at different levels and frequencies of our work. And since we know creation is a circle, and that's why we say we're mending the sacred hoop, there's no one who is higher or lower, whether you're a king or queen, whether you're a chief, whatever position you hold within your culture, that Mother Nature is being the great equalizer right now, that we're all being affected, like from the solar flares, from the earth changes, the magnetic poles changing, the flooding, the wildfires. So in a way, this healing, and I just want to take a moment to acknowledge our brother Robert from Uganda is here. Welcome, Robert. We're having a deep discussion about the big work. So, you know, and part of this is like some people are what I say are still in the deep shadow trench of doing their trauma work, and that's what they need to do. Others are holding maybe frequencies or ceremonies or different things to anchor certain frequencies or aspects of the light. And if you think about it, I mean, again, this is not about higher or lower, like, oh, I'm a high priestess and you're just a, you know, all these different things that our brain get into, which is not how nature works. Nature is nature's intelligence is exquisite, and it's about social permaculture. The only way an ecosystem functions is because of the healthy interaction, whether you're a flower, a tree, a hedge, a weed, like everything has its divine place in this interaction and interdependence of how we all work together. So for me, really, that's a big part of the work that week. I mean, we're having people who are coming to facilitate ceremony. Some people want to offer sweat lodge. So there's a lot of stuff. And if you look on the homepage, I mean, this is an immersion in nature. It's a healing retreat. It's a gathering. It's a summit. It's part conference. It's weaving. It's a vision council. And this is nothing we tried to map out from the beginning. We said, okay, let's just create space for people to bring their visions together, and doing it in a way that's not hierarchical. There's no one personality or organization that's any more important than the others. But you are right, because doing the shadow work can be painful. And there's actually a slogan that's given to Crestone. I have to say the light frequencies are very intense here. Again, I don't want to babble too long. I'm going to be sharing videos on the threads about Crestone, thousands and thousands of years of a place of healing, hot springs. But part of it is I work with Maya Nartumid. She's been at Oracle for 54 years. She started working with NASA as a teenager, having these visions about quantum physics. And she has a thing called the Vault of Thoth. Anyways, part of her teaching is this area is called the Valley of the Golden Solar Disk. And this is one of these sacred organ spots on the planet that's also connected with mother trees, that's connected with other sacred spots that are part of this whole regeneration of the planet right now. So there is a slogan here. We say, when you come to Crestone, you'll find out that the light is so bright that it will expose every shadow. So doing a transformational consciousness shifting event on one of these organs of the planet and people coming, it's not just fairy dust and prancing around the maypole. It's the potential to do some very deep and profound healing work. So again, I apologize if I'm taking up too much space, but I wanted to kind of answer that question. And this is not from me. I just want to say this is from source, and this is also an aggregation of all the conversations of all the people on all the threads of all the different regions that are participating energetically in Earthstock. So I cannot personally take any credit. I'm just communicating what's been shared with me.
Thank you for sharing.
And the stone circles are a great way to anchor it. as you know.
That's how we start a new story. If we start putting down the stones so heartfelt, that's when we start to create future.
And truth.
And truth.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no healing when we do not start walking a different path. And that's so important. And for me, it really feels you're starting to do this. And for me, that's incredible. And thank you.
Well, we are doing it. and we're finding each other. And part of the prophecies, I listened to Gary Walther's book last night. When the genocide of the native people from North America happened, they held ceremonies to say, okay, well, there's this wave of genocide that's happening, but we make a covenant to come back in 7 generations to reincarnate as the grandchildren of the conquerors. And this is happening on a global level, coming back with the consciousness to help mend the sacred hoop and to bring back this sacred way of being on the earth. And this is, again, this is a book by Gary that he's putting out based on the teachings of Crazy Horse. So this is, again, you know, very deep, like, wow, kind of stuff. And the beauty is we're recognizing each other. We're all holding a unique piece of this work and this covenant that a lot of us made a long time ago to be on the planet at this time, doing this work. I do want to welcome very briefly our scene also calling. We're going to shift gears in just a moment, but I think I always want to make sure everybody has their voices heard and puts their thoughts in pertinent to the direction that this conversation is going. And I have to say, I knew we were going to dive into some deep water today with the people who started the call. So any other last thoughts or input? So I want to thank all my family showing up from Europe. Again, I'm working on getting some representation from my ancestors in Italy, but it's really a great honor. Part of the Hopi prophecy is at this time, because of the destruction of the last world, right, by water, which is stories known around the world, that the people went into the earth, they survived this great purification. Here in North America, they came out of the earth at the Grand Canyon. It's called Sepapu, and they went in the 4 sacred directions to the north, south, east, and west. And part of the prophecy is at some point in the future, the people will migrate back here to have these councils and these gatherings at the Sepapu, which is the womb of origination for many of the cultures and traditions and people here in North America. So part of this gathering is this reconvening of all of us, bringing our sacred knowledge and the pieces that we've acquired over this centuries, potentially 26 to 52,000 years, to help start, like you said, Denny, to start the new chapter.
Sure, I feel very touched listening to all that's been shared today, and these threads of sound and stone and the dragon's line. I felt very moved listening to you all, and I'm sure there's much to share more. I look forward to that. And I'd just like to offer thanks and blessings for this space, and Michael for carrying the vision and walking with it, opening this space for us all to come together and gather in this way. And yeah, may it truly nourish Mother Earth, all that we share, and bring the healing from within ourselves, that as we heal, we may bring healing to the earth.
Thank you. And Amanda, would you share some final prayer with us and offer us that blessing?
Yeah, I'd love to. So we give thanks for this opportunity to be together. We give thanks for the sacred hoop. We get thanks for the weaving of the colors and the believing of the rainbow grandmothers, the rainbow grandfathers, the emerging from the earth of the truth, the understanding of the blessing of community and unity, and seeing things through with a sense of true purpose, allowing ourselves to dance with the porpoises and the whales, singing the waves, feeling the energetics coming through all of us, washing us clean as we reignite a new dream, as we come together sight unseen, but spirit heard and spirit felt. May we melt into our own original blueprint, free, loving, being, and here.
Wow. So thank you so much. I'm going to stop the recording.